All right, all right, all right. What's going on, everybody, man? Welcome back to najehwilk YouTube channel, man. Appreciate everybody tuning in, man. So today, look, we're talking about Georgia Tech. I got other teams I'm gonna hit later on, man. I had a busy Saturday, man, but I'm gonna get into Georgia. I'm gonna get into Miami and obviously Texas tomorrow, man. But we're gonna talk strictly just the Yellow Jackets today, man, and everything they had going on in the spring game. And I'm gonna give y'all my my thoughts and my analysis of what I think about the game. Okay, I know it's a little bit later tonight, but I gotta get this video out for y'all. All right. So several people have asked me, several just I'm not gonna name who it was, but I appreciate you guys. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate the fans of Georgia Tech liking my content, what I bring to the table. So first off, let me shout you guys out as well, man. But we're gonna break down some of this spring, what I liked, what I didn't like, what needs to be better. And you guys will see from thumbnail, different things that we were able obviously to see obviously from the team. But we're gonna roll the clip first and start with QB1 for Georgia Tech, right? This is straight from the mouth of head coach Brent Key. Okay, so we're gonna pull that up first and foremost, and obviously talk about that. Okay.
Turned on are not the same.
That springs over. Catch for big play line games. Finishing on the line games. On the defense coach. He's got a chance to be a really, really good football spring. A better job of. Right? Now that being said, we have a lot of work. They got training in.
On there. All right, now that spring's over, are you prepared to announce your starting quarterback, or kind of what's going on there? Where's your head at with that at this point?
We like throw a party and announce it. What do you think it is?
I think it's Alberto.
Yeah, you're right. But I don't know. I mean, I can't predict the future. That's why those guys all got reps, right? If you're starting in bed, he can start quarterback. Pretty simple. All the other guys showed progress. I think probably two throws great. You'd love to have back right now. That were just like what in the world that come from. They had a couple really good. You try to throw some of those tight windows, but and then he, like freshman, he can spin it now, but it's going to take a while. Cole's going to take it takes time to learn, not just the verbiage and just how to call play, but then what you have to do when you play. He's got talent. He's got big, really, really good arm talent. So, no, but I've been very pleased with Roberto. Very pleased with this progression over the last 2 weeks. Not just as the trigger man, but his overall leadership, how he's running the offense, managing the offense, how he's settling into the role here. Very good at his development, not just over the course of spring, but especially the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I have it, man. As y'all see from the mouth of obviously head coach Brent Key, right? If they had a game tomorrow, Alberto Mendoza is the starting quarterback. That tells me everything I need to know about who's separated. And I know some fans felt like, oh, well, we didn't show enough of the other quarterbacks, but I think you pretty much knew who it was. You know what I'm saying? I like Grady a lot. Grady was pretty efficient today. 8 for 11, man. I think he had 94 yards and a touchdown, 2 touchdowns, and rushing as well. Mendoza, pretty efficient day, 12 for 16, 148 yards and a touchdown. So he did what he was obviously supposed to do. So I think he's the right QB for the job. I will say though, this wasn't his most impressive performance. You call it guys what you want. I think we've seen better performances from Alberto Mendoza, in my humble opinion, right? Again, only 4 completions, but there were several reads he was missing, right? He was missing Jordan Allen several times who was streaking free, right? Post route, deep route, whatever you want to call. He was cooking when it came to that today. And some people are like, well, Jordan should just run in the slot. No, Jordan Allen shouldn't. Jordan Allen is very versatile. He can match up against anybody and cook and do his thing. He was getting open several times against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets secondary. So did miss a couple of those. You need, obviously, one of my biggest concerns is you need more deep designing plays. I did like the trickery, though. I like you using, obviously, Tawfiq Thomas on a couple of those trick plays. I like you also, doing little flea flickers and trying to hit the deep route down the field. I love it. You got to try that part out. So I do love that part. But this offense in this game that was dominated by the defense, right? Dominated. They did too many They did too many underneath routes, in my humble opinion, early on. And teams they're gonna tee off on that. Right now, obviously keep things vanilla, and things like that. But they gotta hit bigger plays across the field. Now, one thing, if I'm a Georgia Tech fan, I'm excited about is Kevin Roche. Right? Kevin Roche looked good. He at least had about 6 or 7 catches today, I think over 70 yards. he did what he was supposed to do, and he's going to be that safety blanket for this offense. You add him and you add Gavin Harris, and you got potential problems for defenses, right? Because they're going to stack the box. They're going to put 9 in that box. They're going to try to stop Justice Haynes, who also looked good today. He was one of my biggest takeaways. They hit on that. Justice Haynes is going to be an absolute problem this upcoming season with everything he brings to the table. But the reason why those two, when I tell fans that are concerned, like, Naj, I don't know. Like, I'm concerned about the weapons outside of Jordan Allen. I think it's going to come really from that tight end room that's very deep. Spencer Mermans, who's barely played, Chris Carbon. No, I'm messing up his name. That's not Chris Carbon. I cannot think of the tight end's name right now. Actually, you know what? Hold on, y'all. I will just look it up. I can't think of his name right now, and I don't want to butcher his name. I know a lot of people be watching my channel, so let me go. His name is Chris. Because I know Chris Corbo. I'm sorry, y'all. Chris Corbo, the tight end, right? He's supposed to come back, right? So you were missing a lot of guys. Nathan Agame got a little bit of PT as well, obviously in the spring game. But I feel like that part that's going to stand out is going to be at the tight end spot. And I tell for anybody that's concerned, and that's a rightful concern, it's going to come from Dalen Penton. Dalen Penton is going to have to be the guy that stretches this defense, right? He's going to have to be the guy offensively who did not play today, the one that stretches and helps out Jordan Allen. I think Allen is the one. I think he's going to make a lot of big plays in this offense. But I think like Dalen Pitts outside of him is going to be the other player that goes. And Coach Key even talked about him being a deep threat down the field and being a problem for other defenses, right? So you're going to need Dalen Pitts to step up when it is time. And I feel like wholeheartedly he will. He will get better in this offense. And I think he will make a lot of plays, obviously, this year for the Yellow Jackets. They're going to need it. And it's a valid concern, right? But I think a lot of it's going to come from the tight ends. I think a lot of it's going to come from, obviously, Dalen Pitts in this upcoming year for the concern at the wide receiver spot. You got to keep building the chemistry. You got to keep getting better and better. Obviously, they have a ways to go, according to Coach Key, right? Still building. They got a ways to go. Had some drops, different things like that. They got to figure some things out. But there were a lot of overthrows today. A lot of overthrows. There was a lot of missed those as well. There were several drops too coming across the middle of that field. So they got to get better there. But I will say this one player I'm kind of excited about. I just posted it obviously on my X. But I'm very excited about DeBron Gatling. And a lot of people are not going to mention him, but he had a very productive spring again. And remember, last year, guys, he popped off also in the spring game, you know what I'm saying, and did his thing. Now, for those that are going to say, well, nah, this was against a freshman cornerback. He was a wide receiver converted corner. This still is a hell of a play. Great throw, obviously, by Alberto Mendoza. And the Gatling just goes up and get it. This is what you're going to need next season. You need players like Gatling that's going to be making plays consistently. So I think he's a guy that continue to ascend this spring. I'm not saying he's going to start, but he should be well healthy into the rotation, right? Obviously, you had Javin Plummer out there today. Didn't really hear too much from him. Isaiah Furman, who hopefully can get healthy. But expect Gatling to kind of line up, I think, pretty much anywhere. Slot, outside, and just be kind of a weapon for this offense. And this is what he wanted. This is why he transferred back from South Carolina, initially being from the Milton area in Georgia. I think he has a chance to make a lot of plays on the flats this year. And I think he's a guy that stood out. Evan Haynes is another one. I know he had a drop or so in there, but he made several plays today. That drop it in the hat by Cole Bergeron, you know what I'm saying, it was very special. So I thought those two wide receivers today pretty much caught my eye. Outside of those two, it was a pretty silent day in my humble opinion for obviously wide receivers. And again, I'm not blaming Jordan Allen. He's a guy, he's going to covet a lot of defensive attention and get doubled. They're going to need guys like Gatling, right? The Gavin Harrises, the Kevin Roche Jr.'s. They're going to need all of those type of players and Dalen Pitts to step up. So that is a little bit concerning. Now, the thumbnail on the right side, I put time for concern. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Oh, my Lord. That defense is a damn problem, right? You look at that defensive line. Hey, bro, I ain't going to lie to y'all. Noah Carter, Lord, 2 sacks. Couldn't be blocked. Jordan Walker, get off the bus, guy. Y'all seen the clip. I showed the clip, obviously, of him doing his thing, working out, all that good stuff in spring practice. That boy was smiling from here all the way up home in Rutgers. Bro looked good. When I say he looked good, he looked good. He looked good. He looked good. I don't know why it doesn't. I'm sorry, y'all. But no, he looked good today. Okay, so I really think Georgia Tech got a damn problem for other teams. And it starts with defensive line. Obviously, Coach Key was very ecstatic. But this is what I mean. I'm gonna share this tab to you. We're gonna mute that. But look, just that's Christian Speakman. Right here, just a get off the bus guy. That's Jordan. That's Jordan Walker, bro. This is what he is, and he's gonna be a damn problem this year. I'm telling y'all, him and Noah Carter are gonna be problems. And then on the interior, nobody's talking about it, but Tawfiq Thomas was generating that pressure on the interior. Him, Christian Garrett, they were pushing that pocket, right? The first 4 possessions of this game, you go back to the first half, they couldn't move the ball, right? 3 and out, sacks, pressures. Noah Carter had a big sack right before the half. That pretty much derailed the drive for Graham Knowles in that offense, right? They end up kicking a 68-yard PAT, which is cool. Love Aiden Burns doing that. But that defense is a problem. And they're so much better. Like, no disrespect to Jordan Vandenberg or Kilo Stone or Jason Moore and them boys, but Georgia Tech hasn't had this level of talent at defensive line in quite a long time. And you see why Jess Simpson is ecstatic. You see why, obviously, Kyle Pope is ecstatic. They're a damn problem, right? So good luck. Good luck. I mean, I really think, like, they're deep, they're loaded. And they're gonna be problem. Now we'll see what they look like against other D1 talent and different things like that. But from throughout most of the spring, they dominated that offensive line. And that's my concern, right? Offensive line that you switched up, moved Malachi Carney to guard. You obviously moved Jameson Ricks to right tackle. And the inside is Joe Ionata, who everybody's been raving about as a really good center for them. Left guard, obviously Kevin P's been stepping in there. And you didn't have Ethan McKinney, obviously, at left tackle. You rotated some guys, Jordan Ford, and so much and so forth. But I'll tell you what I'm concerned about the offensive line is the depth. The depth did not look good today. You call it the 2s or 3s. They didn't hold their own, right? That defensive line dominated, right? They didn't start getting it going into the second half where we didn't see Tawfiq no more. We didn't see Jordan Walker no more. We didn't see Noah Carter no more. We barely seen Christian Garrett anymore, right? So the offensive line depth to me is a little bit concerning. It's going to get kind of glossed over a little bit, but they got to figure that part out. I ain't gonna lie to you, man, because you're gonna go against teams and you never know with injuries. They've had really great attrition the last few years and not getting injured and not getting hurt. You know, they had different things like that, but they don't have to figure that the hell out. Okay, that could potentially be a problem. They're gonna have to figure that out, man. So for me, that's a little bit concerning if I'm a Tech fan in terms of the offensive line and how they was dominated. Now, later on in the game, they was creating more obviously rushing lanes, more things for people to obviously run through, and it was creating more time for the quarterbacks to evaluate and throw the football. But the offensive line has to get better. You know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna cut it. And they got to do better. And I'm gonna be honest, the offensive play calling. I thought they threw in some nice wrinkles in there. Keep it obviously very vanilla, but you're gonna need more shot plays put in that offense. Again, like the trickery, but you got too much speed. You got Jordan Allen. You got Dalen Pinson. I know he didn't play today. You need more shot plays down the field, but you got to have the offensive line that can hold up for that to even happen. Right. And if you're a quarterback, you got to hit on those shot plays down the field. You got to make those throws that make a lot of sense. Right. And you got to hit on those throws. They missed a lot of throws today. They ain't being talked about. They missed a lot of throws today. You got to hit on them throws, man. You got to hit on them, man. So talk about O-line. It needs to be better. Running back room looked good today. I'm not going to lie. It did. One guy I thought that raised his stock today significantly for me is going to be J.P. Powell. I thought he was a guy, he's waited his turn. What I'm saying, coming over last year, redshirt freshman, but broke loose, man. I think it was a bad angle, but broke loose all the way for the open field. And as you guys can see, made Pater big time, obviously, game for him. He was the leading rusher today. I think they're loaded. Probably one of the most talented running back rooms in the country. Malachi Hosley also added a long touchdown run over, I think, 20-plus yards, according to the stats. Let me see just real quick, guys, to make sure. 25-yard. No, it was net 25, 6.2 yards per carry. What was his long? His long was 18-yard rushing touchdown for Malachi Hosley, right? And you had Malachi Hosley with 6.2 average, Justice Haynes with 5.1 average, and we had obviously Mendoza with 9.5 average. So I think the running backs did pretty good today. We've seen the wheels of Mendoza, the wheels of Grady Adamson, of course, but I think they're loaded at obviously the running back position. So for me, I feel like, okay, so if I'm coming out of this spring, you know what I'm saying? Now the linebackers, I didn't see a whole bunch today in terms of standing out. So, the linebackers, I'm gonna put a question mark. Right. I didn't see nothing crazy, but again, it's spring, so I get it. It's more of a veteran-led group. So I will say quarterback, I feel good about. Right. Now I need Mendoza to take more chances. I can't, you can't do underneath routes all the damn time. But I feel like quarterback, I feel good about. Right. I'm checking the post. I feel good. Right. Running back room, I feel good. Very deep, very loaded. Traylon Maddox, J.P. Powell, Chad Alexander. You know what I'm saying? You obviously have Shane Mark. I feel good, right? Tight end room, even though it's banged up, you're missing two guys. I feel good. Like right now, I got obviously Gavin Harris and I got obviously Kevin Roche. Just saying right now, not even including the other two tight ends. I feel good, right? The only concern there is blocking a little bit more. Who's going to be that main guy to block? And that really converts more to Spencer Merman. That's going to kind of be his role, right? Mainly blocking. He likes to hit people in the mouth. That physicality, that's going to be Merman's, right? Offensive line felt kind of good going in. A little bit concerned, right? Depth, as I told y'all before. So that part I'm feeling a little bit concerned. Still need to figure some things out. I'm not at all like super ecstatic. Like I got to see more. Like outside of the five, hey, who else, right? And then you got two freshmen in there that's really good in Cortland Hurd and Courtney Hurd, but will they be ready? Because it's different when you're lacing up, you're playing a physical ACC. All right, so offensive line, I'm a little worried. Depth wise, defensive line, probably one of your best units outside of the running backs. One of your best units, right? Defensive line, I feel good. Like we're loaded, we can rotate, not gonna be tired. No, barring any injuries, this unit is leaps and bounds better than what it was last year. Not even close, not even a comparison. Linebackers didn't see much, no, nothing really crazy. You know what I'm saying? Still got to kind of evaluate that position, obviously, a little bit more. I don't think they play hella veterans today, if I'm humbly honest with you guys, in terms of obviously linebackers and things like that. But Miles Forrestal had a pretty good day. Backup linebacker, 5 tackles today. So very vanilla, right? But I will say Cayman Spalding had a pretty good day today, right? Coach Key talked about obviously him not necessarily regressing, but having a bad moment, right? That kind of affecting his play. He had a near pick today, you know what I'm saying, and had several pass breakups. I thought Cayman Spalding gets my game ball in the linebacker room. So that one was very vanilla. I would say I feel probably about the same going in to spring that I do for coming out for spring when it comes to linebacker. And then last but not least, the secondary, right? Now I'm not concerned. I like there was a bunch of busts. There was some bad angles taken today by some of the secondaries, and some missed tackles and stuff like that. So you got to clean up that tackling part that Coach Keith kind of talked about a little bit. But I think you feel good. Like that first team, T. Harris and Phoenix, and you know what I'm saying, Daquan White, who he's talked about has had a pretty good spring, plaster coverage, staying step for wide receivers. Daquan White is talented, right? And I think he got a chance to start. I'm not gonna lie. Now, all the attention will go to Jalen Mbakwe, and rightfully so, former 5-star prospect out of Clay Chalkville. He should get a lot of the attention. But at the end of the day, bro, Daquan White is that guy. He played at Creekside High School, right? He was part of those teams that went deep into the postseason, state championships, or semifinals and things like that. He was a part of that. Daquan White had a pretty good spring. And people gonna sleep on it, but that might be CB2 for them, right? Now, Zach Toby, a good player. We'll see how they do things, right? Obviously, at the star, the nickel, they're gonna have Kelvin Hill, probably have some rotation there with Tay Harris as well. We'll see what kind of happens in the multiple defenses that they decide to run under obviously defensive coordinator Boogie, or more so obviously called Coach Seymour, right? So that part we got to see. Not too sure, humbly honest, right? But I will say the cornerback room is very talented, very good. And we ain't even mentioned Jaden Terry, and we ain't even mentioned Travis Stevenson, who's not even on campus just yet. That room's loaded. Very talented, right? Safety wise, I feel like Savion Raleigh had a really good day today. Coach Key talked about him taking a step forward. Coach Key talked about him finally seeing what we want to see out of Savion Raleigh. And that's very big for him coming into this year because they're probably going to need him in different rotations and things like that. They might be rotating him in Tay Harris. They might be rotating him in Phoenix Felton. And to have a veteran on that back end, you feel a lot better, obviously, about that scenario and that situation. So to be humbly honest with Georgia Tech, I would give it honestly a B plus effort. There are some things to be concerned about. There are some things that they got to work on and improve. It's spring, though, y'all. So you take it with a grain of salt. You improve, you get better, right? Playmaker-wise, you got to get a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? Offensive line got to get better. You know what I'm saying? Defensive line, running backs, checking boxes. You know what I'm saying? Quarterback, you're checking boxes. Just need to get hit on those deep plays down the field, right? But outside of that, man, I thought it was a productive spring game. You know what I'm saying? Seen some nice things. Several players stepped up. Stock rise. We'll have more of that on all yellow jackets at SI.com. You know, so y'all stay tuned for that, man. But, you know, I thought it was a pretty productive spring. And for those that are worried, we're going to find out. Fall camp is going to give us a little bit more insight. Is Isaiah Furman finally healthy, right? Who's going to be some other receivers outside of Dalen Pinson and Jordan Allen? Who else is going to step up? Or will it be very tight end laden and we're leaning on those guys, those 4 tight ends, in order to help out? We're going to find out. I can't wait. It's not here yet, but it's right around the corner, man. It's going to be a lot of fun to cover, and I can't wait to see what the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets are going to do. That's my honest assessment. Y'all know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, hype up the video. Y'all make sure y'all follow me on all platforms, man. I'm active on TikTok. I'm active on X. I'm active on Instagram. Y'all holla at your boy, man. I will see you guys in the next one and keep supporting. Till then, peace.